This is All India Radio. Whispers of the Wind. All India Radio in collaboration with Vigyan-Prasar presents science serial Whispers of the Wind based on understanding and managing climate change and global warming. Today is episode number 29, interactive program based on listeners' letters.
A very warm welcome to all our listeners and to our panelists. This is yet another episode of the interactive session that we always have after each segment of the science serial that we have, Whispers of the Wind. Today we have with us Shri T.S. Pawar, Director Climate Change and Energy Program, WWF, and Shri Nakul Parashar, Director Vigyan-Prasar, and of course the coordinator of the serial, Dr. B.K. Tyagi, who is also working with Vigyan-Prasar. A very warm welcome to all of you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Tyagi, what the wind has whispered.
Nice way of, asking the question. Yes. I think this was the almost third segment which we have just concluded. And there were around 8 episodes on that. And this entire segment was on the impact of climate change in terms of which we are seeing in the form of global warming. And then we have gone into the finer layers of that impact in terms of what would be the impact on health. Then what would be the impact on our food security. Then as a result of global warming, there is a rise of the sea level.
Yes.
And the people who will be displaced, who are living around the coastal area, do we have any plan to rehabilitate them at the other place? And also, the interesting part was that this segment also has one episode on the beneficial impact of climate change, because all the time we have been talking about the negative impact of climate change.
I'm surprised to even learn this phrase, the beneficial impact of climate change.
Definitely it's not always, because we have to understand the thing in that way, because the CO2, carbon dioxide, is the main culprit, for climate change or the global warming. But this was the gas only, or which made the life possible on Earth. If we remove that small portion of CO2 from the air, I think the condition at Earth, either it will be too hot in the day and it will be too cold during the night, like the other planets has.
Which would make life impossible.
Yeah. So I think in a way, oxygen is a life-giving gas, but this gas has made the life possible on Earth. So it is equally very important component of our air. But the question is, the amount of CO2 has remained constant since the origin of oxygen-based life on Earth. And it was only around 150 years back when we had that industrial revolution. Since then, the CO2 level is increasing. And all the possible consequences or the bad impact of, in terms of the environment, degradation, the bad condition of all the natural resources are because it started from that time onward. So we can divide the entire period into pre-industrial time and the post-industrial time. And all those problems has, came or being surfaced only after the industrial revolution. So we try to, accommodate all that possible thing into this segment.
Very well, Dr. Tyagi, you really informed us well what was the agenda of the segment that we had. Mr. Parashar, can you please enlighten us on how can we communicate it to the youth, especially school-going students, college-going students, or those who are pursuing a career in the field of science, doing research works?
Interesting. We all know that we have 4 possible sources of media that can help us disseminate all that we've been talking, and there's been a great big brouhaha about it. And it is true because we all feel it, we experience it, and it's important that we are sensitive to it. And it's important for us to also make others know about what's happening. So as I said, these 4 different media that we talk about, print, electronic, digital, and social. But the most important thing is how effectively can we communicate, right? If we talk in a typical scientific manner or a typical scientific language, would be a little difficult for a common man to comprehend.
Yes, it won't be that effective. Yes.
For that matter, Vigyan-Prasar, which has been into existence for the last 30 years, and particularly I'll, compliment my colleague and our senior person in this area, Dr. B.K. Tyagi, who's done quite a bit in this. He has written a lot of books, he has written a lot of articles, and goes around, talks about it. This particular serial that we're talking about is his brainchild. And, all these different segments that we are talking about have been designed and devised by him in such a manner that the effectiveness of communication about this such a important issue, which we are, all of us are affected with, gets to everybody. So then we have television media. Fortunately, Vigyan-Prasar has also been interested with a science channel which is called DD Science, which is an hour slot on DD National, where we talk about, and we have plenty of such programs that get aired on a regular basis. On the social media, of course, our teams are very effectively talking, and we do have almost every possible social media that we can think and talk about it. And fortunately, we know that in an age today where, all these media have become so very interactive, you get instantaneously, you get responses to it. You can think about the remedies, you can talk about them, you can make people understand. And as I said, the Kinnor example that I spoke about, there are number of them. If you look at, it's just something that's not stopping. Every day you have something or the other. You have WhatsApp, you keep seeing videos that get viral. So this is how, we think, and we all understand, we will all agree that this is how we can probably let the masses know about such a important aspect and a problem that we're all facing. And I think I will probably rope in Dr. Pawar for this matter, that how the sea levels are increasing, and interestingly talked about how the water expansion, because the thermal expansion is also one of the reasons. So I'll just leave the floor to you.
Because
that was very interesting.
Yeah, for me also, I never thought this could also be an additional factor of sea level rise. Can you elaborate more on that, sir?
Yes, so it is true that both these phenomena reinforce each other. For example, if we have higher temperatures, it would lead to greater melting of glaciers.
Yes.
And that is one direct thing because of which the sea level rise is there. Second aspect is, the more the temperature, the greater would be the volume of the water, and because of that there would be a rise in the level of the sea water. So both of them,
double jeopardy.
Yes. and actually it adds up, and that is where there's also a recent report by the UN on the impacts of climate change related to cryosphere. And that also is pointing out to more and more coastal cities which are there being vulnerable. And I think at the level of 50 centimeter rise, many of our big cities like Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, they would be severely impacted by the impacts of sea level rise.
Okay.
So this is a very challenging sort of issue which is there, and that is why the efforts are there not only by the government of India, but it is a global issue. So this report deals with the impacts till the end of the century, that is 2100. But there are also interim scenarios which deal with the year 2050, and the levels are different, obviously, at different points in time. But it is pointing out that currently, if you see, all the countries under the Paris Agreement had agreed that they would take measures to limit the temperature increase to well within 2 degrees centigrade, but make efforts towards limiting it to 1.5 degrees centigrade. But just on one point on this is that we already have exceeded 1 degree centigrade, and the current trends indicate that by 2100 year we are headed towards a almost 3 degrees rise in temperature.
That's alarming. That's more than alarming.
Yeah, but Dr. Saab, there is a one thing, the whole culprit for entire thing is CO2. But CO2 doesn't pollute the air, it dilutes the air. So what is the connection between then climate change and pollution?
Yes, a very interesting question you have asked. So CO2 is not considered as an air pollutant by definition.
Yes.
Because air pollution is more of a local phenomena in which we take pollutants such as PM particulate matter, PM 2.5, PM 10. I'm sure you all would have heard it is in the newspapers every day.
So that means it is only the solid particle.
No. It is solid as well as gaseous particles. For example, oxides of nitrogen, sulfur dioxide, and there are other harmful pollutants. For example, benzene, toluene, pH. Others are there,
And even ozone also now.
and ozone also. Very true.
Yes.
So there is also a close relationship between air pollution and climate change, and many of the air pollutants are also climate forcing agents. For example, black carbon is one. Black carbon is generated when there is incomplete combustion of fuel containing carbon. So, for example, even the wood fires which are there, so they would generate a lot of black carbon. Now, black carbon has properties that in the lower atmosphere, it would absorb the sunlight and heat the atmosphere. So that is one direct thing which leads to warming. In addition, we have sulfate particles which reflect sunlight, so they have a slightly cooling effect which is there. And then we have the ground level ozone, which is generated by interactions of hydrocarbons and oxides of nitrogen in the presence of sunlight. Ground level ozone also has a warming effect. So the net effect of all this is that there is a net warming effect which is happening.
Okay, Dr. Parashar, Vigyan-Prasar is organizing a mega event in Calcutta. Do we have something related to this?
Oh, yes. Very much, very much. India International Science Festival this year is going to be in Kolkata, and this is going to be during 5th to 8th of November. And at Vishwa Bangla Convention Center and Science City, these are the two major venues where we'll have more than 28 events. This is the 5th edition of IISF, or the India International Science Festival. These 28 events at the India International Science Festival this year will have, each of them will have a topic, will have an issue to discuss about this climate change. Interestingly, even the students, the young students, will be a part of this science village, where about 2,500 students would be there, from where, in which we'll have about 500 students from the Atal Tinkering Lab, and we'll have about 300 students from Northeast states. They will also be coming from the Atal Tinkering Lab. The reason we have gotten them is because they would then get mingled with the rest of other students to talk more about climate change and how, what they are doing, what knowledge they have, and what policies and things that they have been told and talked about, so that they can bring a change at a very early stage. Because we are here today, and these youngsters will be there tomorrow, and they're the ones that we all anticipate, and we've been forecasting and talking about, that they will be the ones who will be the most affected. So of course it becomes much more pertinent that these youngsters get a chance.
Sir, this brings me to a relevant question actually. The kind of communication that you are going to have through these international film festivals and events like this, is there any difference between the approach that you have towards students or youth from rural India, rural area, and the urban area? Of course, they have the background matter, how they perceive a certain information, how they receive it, and how they process it. So is there any difference? I'm just curious.
Well, interestingly, it used to be a difference between the two. At the moment, I even don't see a hairline difference between the two. Technology is so advanced. Everybody, whether it is rural or whether it is urban, has an access to the information. Wireless telephony, internet is easily available. Even it was surprising to see that, I did ask somebody, you get a newspaper at your house? He says, yes, I do, but my old uncles and grandparents, they only read it. We don't read it because we have access to everything on our handheld devices. So in such a scenario, when they are so aware, even if you go to a village in any place in the country, I mean, most of them have an access. The internet telephony has been very, advanced at the moment. And awareness also. WhatsApp group for that matter, we all are victims to it, I would say.
But I was talking about the authentic information and the
Yeah, when it gets to the authentic information, Government of India plays a very important role in this, especially the Department of Science and Technology, the Ministry of Earth Sciences. They proactively go out with their outreach programs, and they have been providing authentic, actual information which is duly validated. So it's just not, something that's been told. Also at Vigyan-Prasar, which is a part of the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, we are also mandated to provide these information in a format which is easily understandable, which is easily comprehensible to one and all. And we do understand, and that's the reason why Vigyan-Prasar has also gotten into taking this into Indian languages. We started with Bangla, we went to Tamil Nadu, started with Tamil, and we've now gotten into Kannada, and also Gujarati is the one which is the next on the line, and Marathi as well. So we have a big program for all Indian languages where we would be certainly disseminating these problems, issues that are grave concern to everybody. Right.
Yes. I just want to ask Dr. Pawar. Recently, we have this coup in Noida, I think a week-long conference or a discussion, whatever you may call. They were discussing on this climate change and the desertification. So how these two things are linked, and if we look at it in an Indian scenario, how it's going to affect us?
Yes, so this COP was held in Noida, and it was an important UN event which was there. As you rightly said, with climate change, what we are having is that the rainfall patterns and the intensity of rainfall would be varying across various regions. So that might lead to increased stress on water resources in certain areas, and the consequent impact on the desertification.
The loss of biodiversity, that means the forest cover, the plant cover will be lost.
Yes, so one is because of the change in the sort of location.
Rain pattern.
Rain patterns is one thing, but the other issues which were also important and which need to be considered is the desertification because of the change in land use, because of deforestation and the forest areas being put to different activities.
Yes. So that means these are all man-induced, or the reason is more anthropogenic rather than natural.
I would say it is a mix of both anthropogenic and natural.
How you say the natural? Which are those natural factors?
Because, for example, if we have certain desert areas, and if adjoining that the pattern of rainfall changes.
But rainfall pattern is changed because of anthropogenic factor.
That is true.
I think we are in a very bad vicious circle then. So, to whom we should blame, nature or ourselves?
No, you are absolutely right. If you look at holistically, so it is because of the anthropogenic factors that the climate-induced changes are occurring. So that part is well established.
Okay.
What I was also trying to bring in is that other issues, for example, say deforestation, could be because of change in land use from forest to agriculture or other activities, which is more anthropogenic. But once it changes, and then the impact of climate change because of rising temperature may lead to higher incidents of forest fires and others. So there is again a bit of natural element which is coming in. But overall, the summary is that anthropogenic factors are responsible.
One very interesting, if we look at the western part of our country, it is a desert or arid zone. The desert bound to happen here. But with the human intervention, we have this canal system and all that. The greenery has increased. Okay, and now you see, last few years, we have seen the heavy rainfall in the area where, there was hardly any rain, especially this year. Until now, I think we have listening the flooding in Jaipur or those Bikaner and other districts. Is it a factor which we can say is because of climate change, or it's a seasonal variability? But even seasonal variability, if you see, we don't have the pattern at all of such a heavy rainfall in this area, because naturally they fall into a desert area. But now we are witnessing a heavy rainfall in this. How you give a reason for that? It's because it's always troubling me to understand how it is happening.
Very interesting question. So if we look at, in terms of climate change, we have to take a longer term time frame to assess whether it is really a climate induced phenomenon. If you look at Indian monsoon has its own variability. As you rightly said, normally the retreating monsoon say starts in the western part, say in the first week of September or so. This year it has been almost delayed by a month. But there are certain issues which we see variations in the monsoon pattern year to year, and there are decadal variations also. In every 10 years, you assess and see that there are these variations occurring.
Even in century also there is a variation?
Yes. So if we have variations over a longer period, which IMD defines as say 30 years. So if we see changes beyond 30 years, 50 years, then we try to look into the causes and see it from a climate lens.
But Dr. Sir, I'm just intervening here because the geologist has a different perception altogether. They say there are periodical, the earth, experience those phases of global warming and global dimming. So if we look at that from the geologist point of view, to what extent you agree with that? Because the environmentalists are saying no, it is not so. It is all because they are saying this, because the whole controversy or the difference of opinion is that one group of people, they are saying it is a natural phenomena because earth is now passing through that global warming stage. Now after that the global dimming will come where there will be more cooling. But the environmentalists are saying no, it is a totally human induced consequence. So how we take a balancing view on that?
So if we look at most of the increase in CO2 concentrations have occurred rapidly after the
it has increased. I think that
and the temperature increase has also been noticed, and all the scientific models predict that by the end of the century we are going to have significant increase if measures are not taken right now, which will lead to even more catastrophic and extreme weather events. So this is one thought which is established by science and which is on which the entire premise and the discussions are taking place. So this anthropogenic element of climate change in the last say 150, 160 years is well established. When you go back to the geological stage, so there have been these cycles in the life of the earth where there have been phases of cooling and warming. So that is a different sort of frame of analysis altogether.
Okay. So that means we have to believe that this global warming or climate change is a reality. We have to live with that.
So now it's time for
Sir, yes. I request Dr. Parashar to read out. These are the people, I think all the letters which we have received. These are some of the names which we are including in our this program.
Sure.
And they all are entitled to get their this kit which we are being developed for this program.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have received a number of letters, and of which we have Amit Kumar. Since this was an email where his address was not mentioned, and this is something that we wanted to tell our listeners very clearly, that if you were to put in your entries, please make it a point to tell us where you come from. Otherwise, you would miss to get the gift hamper that you get from Vigyan-Prasar as the award. Another person who's responded to us is Hukum Chandra Kataria from Khargone, Madhya Pradesh, and so is Srishti Pandey for Lucknow. A gentleman from Mandsaur, a village called Kotla Bahadur in Mandsaur, Mr. Tufan Dagi Patel, and Meenakshi Pandey from Lucknow again are few of these listeners who responded positively to our this section of Whispers of the Wind. Dr. Hemant Kumar, Pushkaran Kalam, Rakesh Pushkarna from Udaipur, Rahul Kumar from Banka, Bihar, Jai Krishna Kumar again from Banka, Bihar, and a gentleman, 26-year-old Ramdas ji from Sivni, Madhya Pradesh, are a part of this big team that has gotten the gift hamper from Vigyan-Prasar this time. Our regular listener, Sanjeev Kumar from Karnal, we really salute for his consistency, the way Sanjeev ji, you have been participating and writing questions and answers to our program. We truly appreciate it and look forward hearing from you on all of this. So with this, I think,
looking at the list, I can only say that the thing that we just discussed here, that it is interactive, and whether it is from rural area or from urban area, listeners are there and they are interacting with the team of Vigyan-Prasar and with the team of the serial Whispers of the Wind. It was a wonderful discussion, and I thank you all for being here and to have this meaningful discussion. I just hope we can take something positive back from here, and we have something to look forward to towards mitigating the bad impacts of climate change and increase if there are some beneficial impacts of climate change. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Whispers of the Wind. You are listening to the 29th episode of this science serial produced by All India Radio in collaboration with Vigyan-Prasar. Interactive program based on listeners' letter. Participants experts were Dr. Nakul Parashar, Director Vigyan-Prasar, Dr. Birendra Kumar Tyagi, Senior Scientist and Coordinator of the Science Serial, Dr. T.S. Pawar, Director Climate Change and Energy Program, WWF India. Navodita Mishra is the moderator of this program and assisted by Naveen Kumar. Our address is Science Serial, Whispers of the Wind, Director Vigyan-Prasar, A50 Institutional Area, Sector 62, Noida 201309. You can also write on our email ID radio@vigyanprasar.gov.in. Please do write or mail us your full name, age and profession. If associated with Science Club, do let us know the membership of your club. If you have any query or question, do not hesitate to write to us. We will be back again with the next episode of this science serial, Whispers of the Wind, same day, same time next week. Till then, goodbye.